And hello again, and welcome to Jeff's shed. He's just popped out to get some tea, I think. And I'm here today because at last the side panels and rear seat unit have arrived, and I've also got this rear brake assembly that was made for my drag bike, which we're going to reuse or repurpose for the bike here. And then, much more excitingly, I've got side panels and the rear tail section, which probably won't fit, and fingers crossed it will, but something tells me it might not. So let's just go over here. Okay, so here's the tail section. It's an Z1. It's made to take an oval shaped rear lamp.
Is that plastic or fiberglass?
It's not, it's actually plastic. It's like poly, whatever it is.
Oh, they've got an like injection moulding.
Yeah, it's actually very well made. I'm quite pleased with it. And these are early Z1 side panels, so they'll be going something like that. We can work out how it all works and goes together. Hopefully something like that. How's that? That seems to work okay.
Does it?
You think so?
Ooh.
What? A bit high perhaps there. Yeah, something like that.
It's hard to say until you get your... we need to get the tank situated on.
Yeah, well the tank comes back all the way.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they do.
Obviously we're still going to make the mounts for it here, and on this side there's 3 of them. We cut off the mounts that the old...
Well, the Z650 ones wouldn't have been any use anyway.
Well, I'm pretty happy with that.
Actually, it might have been better using Z650.
No, I like these. These are really pretty, I like these. So anyway, these are like from Z Power. I went to get them the other day. These are £40 each, I think. And here in the background we have the key part that I don't want to use, but I just worry that it won't fit because this frame's been widened, so I've been nightmares about this, so we'll see. Let's see. No, miles off. Miles off. Now, the thing is, that little hole there lines up with the shocks.
It's designed to go over the shock,
yes, like that, and we're absolutely miles off. Now, I was hopeful I might just be able to tweak it a little bit. You might still do it. It's so tight. No. That is a real downer, that, because I was really hoping it would fit. But this has been widened so much, I think we went a bit far there, Jeff, but never mind. So I'm not sure what to do about that, and it can't sit like that. In fact, let me pull that, Jeff, and I'll get the camera.
Well, what we should have done, it was done in the right position to get the shockies in line.
Yes,
either that, or then you end up with your shockies that are
stuck out.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
But I didn't know at the time.
I know. So
never
mind. If you just hold that a sec, I'll come over here, and we'll just refocus, and I can. No, go on.
What?
Okay, so when you look at that now, you can see we're actually miles off. Not to the bit, but you've widened that a hell of a lot. Unless that original frame was wider than a Z1, which I doubt.
It could have been,
but not by much.
I don't think it'd have been by much.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping these things would fiberglass and have a bit more give in them. But
if that was fiberglass, it could have been cut.
Yes, but it's not. It's not. It's a shame because it's really well made. It cost me 90 quid. That's a bit of a waste. Yeah, but very well made and exact replica of an original bike. So that's a bit of a downer for Christmas, but never mind. I was actually concerned because this had been widened by quite a large amount, and looking at the pictures of a standard Z1, it just fits over this frame rail here and just sits around this shocker mount.
Perhaps what we should have done is gone for narrower wheels and left it standard.
Well, yes, but you had already cut the frame up by that time, so...
well, yeah, but you brought...
I know. You live and learn, Okay, so with that a bit of a disappointment, we're now looking at a brand new bit of plate. Nice thick. What's that about?
It's 19. Well, it's 3/4
of an inch thick.
Yeah.
Billet plate with some markings on it.
Well, I've just
1, 2
placed the ones that we had on that had our lug.
Yes.
About here, and only now we want one about.
Okay,
here.
so this is where we're going to make not 1 but 2.
Well, I want one for the
inner
other one. Yeah.
Yes, this is the inner outrigger plate, basically, what we call it, not the outer one.
Well, basically, whatever material gets, we can drill to bolt it to the engine, but I can leave bits on, and then we can put some spacers and bolts across to our other outrigger plate, which will give it a lot
more strength,
a lot more rigidity.
Yeah, And right now, I'm just going to drill down that line.
I'm just going to take it in two. Just to get them into 2 pieces, and then we can
start to mill it.
Once I've got a couple of dowel holes in, I can then drill. You can do them all.
Yes,
because you can do all the work.
Because you've got one already prepared.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually got a plate that the go-to to get all the datum points.
Okay, okay. Now I'm just here now very quickly, so I can't stay. But when I come back, maybe next week, they should.
I'll go and drill this in. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So with that done, then let's move on and look at something else. Right, so here we are at the workbench again, and what I've brought along is a brand new, for a change, rear wheel spindle for a ZRX 1200, which will work on the back end of the Z, and also its special nuts and return clips. So that's all ready to go. I think that was about 50 odd quid, I can't remember now, £56 I think. Yeah, so not cheap, but it's something I needed and I couldn't find any online. And so then the next job we can do is to weld on these tabs tabs, yeah, they've already been threaded. So I've got 4 here, so 2 on this side.
Nicely milled.
Yes, which will go roughly about there. And then we can make a...
Well, hopefully what I want to try and do is get them so that the level with the tube there, so when the plate's on, if you put them in, I didn't want the plates
sticking out.
I thought if we can get them so that the tube's in, when the plate's on, it'll be flush.
Yes, okay,
it looks a little bit, well,
yeah, looks
neater.
Okay, great.
We don't have to worry about a nut being there because they're threaded.
So they've already been done. They just need to be profiled and welded on. I've brought along this brand new Brembo brake master cylinder with a lever. As I say, that's from made by LSL in Germany from many years ago. I think it was made for a Triumph back in the day. So yeah, obviously the backing plate it's bolted to is no good. That was made for a different bike, a drag bike. So that can go, but we'll still use this and perhaps even the lever and even this homemade foot peg. I've got another one. I've got the other side somewhere. Or I could use the foot pegs that came with these LSL levers because they fold up. But who knows? Who knows? So yeah, so that will go on the far side, be mounted on. That's fine. After that, there's still some welding to be done on the frame. It still needs to have a brace here at the back added, and additional braces on the top rails here, on the seat rails, and also at some point we need to add the back end to this frame. Not sure how. I mean, I was hoping that seat unit would work, and then we could obviously then model the mounts on a standard bike and just replicate that on the back of the bike. But no, it doesn't work, it doesn't fit. So a different plan is called for. However, one thing I could tell you, Jeff, is that I found out where them bloody forks.
Have we finally identified them?
Yes, these mysterious forks that didn't seem to fit anything out there. You thought it might be a Suzuki or perhaps a Yamaha.
Possibly,
and we thought at first it was a Gixxer. No, it's not. It might be an RF 900, but no, because they look the same, but it has a different size axle. So after lots and lots of checking and double checking, turns out it's from, or these are from, a Suzuki GSX 1100F power screen. And I've checked everything, and that's what they're from. So that's really handy to know, because it means I can now be sure I can get the right seals and bushes and so on if need be. Yeah, so I think that's it for now, Jeff. So I'll come back in a few days' time, and hopefully you would have worked on.
Well, I want to get them.
Converted this bit of cardboard into aluminium and bolted to the.
That'd be a good trick.
Yes, just like that, And yeah, so we'll come back in a little while and see progress. And now here I am back home again, and I must say it's very disappointing to find that this beautiful tail section doesn't fit the frame. Now when I bought it I wasn't quite sure how wide it was compared to the frame, or in fact how wide the frame had been extended by. But as it turns out, this is about 10 inches wide and the new frame is now 12 inches wide. So as you can see, there's a big difference of 2 inches. Now, one possibility was that this thing could be stretched a little bit. Had it been made in fiberglass, maybe you could do that, but not 2 inches worth. And in fact, it's really well made. I mean, it's got the pocket here for the rider's handbook in there. It's all beautifully made, and really it's too good to cut up or even attempt to make it fit that modified frame. So that can go back on the shelf, and no doubt I'll use it on another project one day. However, that said, it wasn't much of a surprise because I knew it would be a tight fit no matter what happened. So even before this arrived, I'd been thinking about what to do if it didn't fit. And I've got about 4 or 5 different options. And the first one is to modify the frame so this does fit again. That's going to be a huge amount of work, really going back on the work we've already done, to narrow down those frame rails and then extend the shock mounts so everything lines up. And I really don't want to do that, so that one's out. Next thing is to buy another version of this particular tailpiece, but this time in fiberglass, because that'll be a lot easier to modify. And I've actually gone ahead and done that. I've ordered a new one off eBay. This was about £90 and it's quite worth it. I think it's really well made. Whereas the one from eBay is just £45. Now obviously it won't be as well made as this, it probably won't have all these really nicely made pockets and so on in it, but that's okay because I don't need all that. All I need is the outer shape, and when it arrives what we'll probably do is cut it in half and widen it by 2 inches and hope it all looks okay. It will fit of course once I've done that, but I'm a bit concerned that maybe we'll lose that really nice look that we've got on a standard tailpiece. So that's one option. Unfortunately these fiberglass tailpieces are made to order by one man in a shed somewhere, and I won't be getting mine probably for another 4 or 5 weeks. So while I'm waiting I've just been thinking, what else can I do? And so I thought to myself, how difficult would it be to make a version of this seat unit but in aluminium? Now it wouldn't be perfect, it wouldn't be spot on, but it might be quite close. So what I did was, I have already marked out with some tracing paper the sort of general shape of this tail section. Now obviously I need a bit more here yet, but my tracing paper wasn't quite big enough for that. But anyway, that's kind of roughly the shape I would need if I wanted to make something like this in aluminium. Then I converted that to good old cardboard engineering, and we've put that on there. Now obviously it's not really right because I'm just kind of getting an idea here of the size of aluminium plate I need to make this thing. And so having copied that onto the cardboard and then cut it in half and widened it by about 50mm or 2 inches, which is why you've got this piece in the middle. And then from that we can then say, well, yeah, I can make that rough shape but make it 2 inches wider so it fits over the frame rails. Now unfortunately when you make something in aluminium, all we can do is roll it to get that curve, and that means that this beautiful curve here we can't have, because you can't roll it this way and keep that curve. It just isn't possible, not with the way I'd make it anyway. Everything else isn't too bad. I mean, we can continue this forward here and include this part as a flat plate, and then once it's been rolled we can put this bit in the folder and fold it over, and you're pretty much there. As I say, I'm not sure yet if it would work, if it would even look good without this little kink in it, like this curve. But if I take this over here, I can bring in something we made some time ago. That's in focus. This is quite a simple design, made for my Guzzi, and I made it in exactly the same way. It's just cardboard like this. So I worked out what shape I wanted and what it would have to look like. Drew it all out on cardboard, flattened it out, and then we cut it, bent it, rolled it, and it's all been welded together. Now that's actually a very simple shape, but the Kawasaki shape, if we forget about this beautiful curve here, isn't that different. Yes, I wouldn't have this rather nice line here, but you know, so what? It may still look pretty damn good. I'd also not have this little flap here, and in fact, thinking about how it might be made, I'd probably have to make it in several pieces. We'd make this outer layer first, roll it, and then bend this bit over, and then we wouldn't have anything here, so therefore we'd have to cut out this shape and weld it in place, and perhaps even weld in a strengthening piece here to give also somewhere to put the rear lamp. Yeah, so it's not easy, but at the same time it's not also impossible. Now, as I recall, the aluminium version here, which we made a while ago, it cost me about, I think, £50 or £60, something like that. So I would imagine the Kawasaki version of this would be a bit more, but maybe not any more than the £90 that I paid for this one. So yeah, it's a possibility, and the more I think about it, the more I might do that, because I hate fiberglass. I hate messing about with it, all the filler you need, all the faffing about. If I take the cheaper version of this in fiberglass that I've now ordered, cut it in half, and then widen it, blah blah blah. Yes, it can be done, but it's very messy, and you need a lot of filler, a lot of prep. Whereas with aluminium, once we've rolled that curve's perfect. It's got no ripples in it, it's got no need for lots of filler. You can just paint it basically. So yeah, it's something I might consider. And finally, my last option is to forget about the Z1 tailpiece altogether, forget about trying to widen it or copy it, just take it away, and instead look for something else, a completely different tail unit, a completely different seat unit that will go on the bike without too much bother. The problem with that option though is to try and find a suitable seat unit that will work with the Z1 tank I've got and the Z1 side panels I've got. And so far I've not found anything on the internet. I've checked out thousands of bikes, you know, lots of Kawasaki's, custom Kawasaki's, whatever. I can't find anything that seems to work. So I'm still looking, and if somebody out there's got an idea of what seat unit would work with the Z1000 tank and the Z1 side panels, then I'm all ears. And it can be just a tailpiece, or it can be a complete seat unit, I don't mind. But right now I've not found anything. But for now I will concentrate on the engine and the chassis before I worry too much about this seat unit and the details of the paintwork and so on. And so with Christmas around the corner, I'm not sure how much more work will get done on the Z before the new year. So I think we'll call it quits there, and thanks for watching, and cheers. And here we have a box that just arrived in the mail, and it's come all the way from China, and in it are a couple of headlamp brackets. Now these are black, but I don't suppose they might stay black. I might actually blast them and polish them up. Now what's interesting about these is that I've got the exact same pair on my Guzzi, except they're polished. Now when I got them I thought I got a decent deal. They cost about £45 a few years ago from a dealer in the UK. But these, shipped all the way from China, cost me, guess what, just £17, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's so cheap. At first I thought they were anodised, but I don't think so, because you can see the overspray here on the inside. So I think that's just cheap paint, and that'll come off quite easily if I wanted to remove that black finish. It also comes complete with these plastic spacers, because these are made initially for a 41mm fork like I've got, but if you include spacers you can fit it to a 40 or a 39 or even I think a 38mm fork. So yeah, as I say, these probably won't stay like this black. Probably blast it, anodise it, or polish it, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty happy with those. I've used them before, and it turns out these are actually a copy of a version made by Siriani in Italy, so I guess that's why they look quite appropriate. I quite like them actually, so yeah, pretty happy with that. And I've also had today another delivery, this time a bit more expensive, and in here we have something from Oberon. And Oberon make all kinds of clever stuff, but mainly they make these things, which are clutch slave cylinders, or replacement clutch slave cylinders. Now normally you'd fit these to a bike to make the clutch lever effort a little bit less, because the ratio is different from a standard bike. But in my case, I'm converting the bike from a cable clutch to a hydraulic clutch. So obviously I need a slave here, a slave cylinder, and also a master cylinder for the handlebars, which I've not got yet. But I do like these things, they're really well made, and I think they look pretty damn good on the bike. Now these aren't cheap, and altogether, including VAT and postage and insurance, this thing came to £101. It shows about 77 on the website, but by the time you add in all the extras, it's £101. And in this case, I bought one to suit a Kawasaki ZRX 1200, which, as it turns out, the code numbers here look, that also fits, I think, ZXRs, 750s, and also ZZRs, so it's quite a common model in the Kawasaki range. And hopefully it'll work okay on that GPZ 1100B1 motor that I've got on the bike. Now obviously this is quite an expensive way of doing things, and I could have just gone on eBay and picked up a second-hand standard version from a ZZR or something like that for about £15, £20. But in my experience, they all need rebuilding. They all need rebuilding. And so therefore, I'd rather just buy a new piece and be done with it and not have to worry about the seal breaking or whatever, or leaking, which is what's happened to me in the past when I bought any kind of hydraulic system that's second-hand. And now this has to go off to Jeff's workshop, because there he's making me the plate, which is part of the Outrigger support system, and that plate needs to be marked and drilled to take this new slave cylinder. So yeah, that's what's next.